What do you mean he actually came back? What? What am I reading? What do you mean he actually came back? That was the plan. Okay, now here's the bad thing. Here's the bad thing. I got like 2 hours. I got 2 hours. Fuck, I'm being like a fat ass right now. Oh, yeah, that's the only bad part. But I figured we can read a little bit more. Somebody also mentioned 736 is another good stop point in between the arc. So we'll see. I'm over here trying to go back to the fucking gym, which I am. And then I'm eating like a fat ass. You lied yesterday, so it was likely you would today. That's true. That is true. That is valid. Is the internet better now? Yeah. For some reason, it's a little bit slow on my end. But at least streaming wise, it looks like it's not interfering with my streaming. My upload was pretty slow. And then the other thing that was pretty slow was just loading. Have you taken notes for volume 3? I have all my notes for volume 3, but they're just not organized. Yeah, what's it called? Romero, D, and I forgot who else was helping me. But notes for volume 3, I haven't categorized it. Just because of time. It's been kind of hard taking notes off stream. That's the one conundrum I've been facing recently. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My goal is to quickly read through 7 chapters to 36 potentially. Yeah, but look, I have not taken notes for volume 4. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I am taking notes when I'm not. I haven't been able to take them. I haven't been able to dedicate too much time to Lord of the Mysteries off stream. But let's see how far we can get. It's gonna suck if we can't read the whole thing in one sitting. Do you play Nikkei? Of course I play Nikkei. Shit, man. I've been playing Nikkei. Well, the first year, I played every day for 1 year. Hell yeah, dude. I played it on stream once. Dude, I got a stacked ass account, man. I'm not gonna lie. I got all the good pilgrims, bro. Do you play it, Saba? Well, let's keep reading. All right, second unannounced stream today. We're going to keep reading Lord of the Mysteries. We're going to keep grinding. Blasphemy, Lord of the Mysteries. Quick side note, I probably won't be able to read until 3:48 together because you guys did say that. Well, we'll see how much we can read. The other part, somebody said you can potentially stop at 3:36. I thought the stream crashed. It was my internet, bro. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Plot is. Oh, the plot is really good, bro. Wait till you get to chapter 16 and Nikkei. Oh man, you're gonna want to pull that character that gets introduced or like her arc. So good. You're gonna see. The story is really good. At least the first year of content when I played Nikkei was really good. What am I saying? We're already recording our intro. If you like what you're seeing and if you like what you are going to see, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon. And what was it? The YouTubers go, smash that like button. I've already said smash that like button. Point is, we're going to be reading Lord of the Mysteries. We're going to be reading the Infiltration arc. But we're probably not going to read the whole thing. It's going to have to be a 2-part. So I do apologize in advance for that. Well, yeah, if you have a guess, 836 is okay. Okay, awesome. Perfect. All right, timestamp. So I got like 2 hours. 1 hour. 1 hour, 1 minute, and 7 seconds. All right. Just got to keep grinding. Got to keep reading. All right, got to keep them coming. All right. 830. All right, chapter 830 is called Infiltration. The mirror on Klein's pillow glowed with an aqueous luster as silver points of light gathered to form luminous words. Tries to think of the music change. If you guys have good music, you guys let me know. Because also right now, I don't know what to say. I forgot my honorific name. The reader who stalls for eternity, the teamer of beasts and dogs, the one who farms Lord of the Mysteries, Easy Geeky, is here today. There you go. There's an honorific title. You know what? I know what to play. If we're in a cathedral, right? Let's just play this for now. No, not this one. Not this, not this. I know it's not this. Let's just loop this one. Hell yeah, nice. I'll just play this for now. We'll loop this one, see if it hopefully works. The mirror on Klein's pillow glowed with an aqueous luster. Silver points of light gathered to form below in his words. Exalted great master, your loyal and humble servant Rhodes is constantly at your service. Klein stood beside the bed and looked at the mirror before calmly asking, where is the Antigonus family notebook located behind St. Samuel he really is farming? Hell yeah. Excellent, great master, your loyal and helpless servant Rhodes is constantly at your service. Klein stood beside the bed and looked at the mirror before calmly asking, where is the Antigonus family notebook located behind St. Samuel Cathedral's China's gate? He wanted to confirm the location so that he could directly head for his target and complete his plan in the shortest time possible. Through this, he could avoid all kinds of accidents. Silver text distorted and changed on the mirror surface, forming a new line of text. It's grade 1 sealed artifact. It would be on the right in basement 2. It will be on the right in basement 2. I can't see anything more specific. Klein tearfully acknowledged as he said, it's your turn to ask. Rhodes immediately dispersed his silver words and presented a new question. What other instructions do you have? What an amazing question, Sir Rhodes. That's pretty funny. Rhodes immediately dispersed the silver words and presented a new question. What other instructions do you have? If it were any other, Klein definitely would have secretly tisked, but his high-strung mind made him nod. Just watch by own illusion, like before, to deal with any accidents. All right, master. Rhodes is so good. He's amazing when it comes to Klein. All right, master. Rhodes didn't hesitate to give an answer as he hurriedly added, I will hold back my instincts. I swear to you, the great ruler above the spirit world. Klein nodded gently, took 2 steps forward, and made the mirror look like Dwayne Dantes. The image became clearer and bigger until it looked real. After some slight adjustments, Klein made it lie in bed as though it was already sleeping. At this moment, he saw Dwayne Dantes turn his head over and smile at him with a toady look. At the same time, he reached out his hands and pulled out the blanket towards his head. Without a word, Klein transformed into the cold and crazy adventurer German Sparrow. As creeping hunger on his left hand turned transparent, his body rapidly phased away as he traveled to the other end of the Phillips Street where St. Samuel Cathedral was. Following that, he walked to the square filled with pigeons in the day, and he hid himself in a corner under the geese of the shadows. A short while later, a batch of believers who had attended mass came out of the cathedral. Before long, servants began leaving the cathedral of all sorts of miscellaneous items, walking to the trash bins in an alley. A number of people were dealing with the feces that was found at the spot where the carriages parked at. At this moment, a servant's body suddenly trembled before he bowed his head. He seriously began cleaning the area, and he even proactively walked towards the square as though he wanted to clean the trash there. He slowly opened up a distance from the others until he came to a shadowy area. When the other servants stopped placing their attention on him, a hand suddenly outlined itself and reached out of the void, grabbing him by the shoulder and causing his body to phase away into nothingness. Klein had directly traveled to a cheap 2-bedroom condominium in Eastboro. He had teleported over a few days ago with another identity to rent it. A travel ability is really convenient. Tell me about it, dude. The only problem is that I need to have a pirate sacrifice his life every time. True. Klein lampooned to relieve his anxiety as he made the servant lie in bed. Then he took out a long metal vial and threw it at him. The servant caught it, pulled out the stopper before gulping down the soporific medicine in it. In a few seconds, he fell into a deep slumber as Sinor surfaced to his side. Here we go. Klein observed the servant on the bed as his body suddenly softened like he had transformed into a slime monster. However, he didn't collapse into a pole. After some swing, he instantly shortened his heights by 15 centimeters. As his skin darkened in color, his facial features moved as soon as he transformed into the servant, and at any moment, Senor had already taken off the servant's clothes. Without wasting any time, Klein quickly changed into the clothes and moved the item from the iron cigar case over. Picking up the broom and surveying the area before confirming that there weren't any problems, he made Senor return to the gold coin before Klein lowered his left palm, his left arm, and spread his fingers. He watched his creeping hunger produce an indescribable transparent effect. After teleporting back to a shadowy corner, Klein bent his back and began cleaning the area seriously. Step by step, he approached the busy servants by maintaining a distance from them to prevent anyone from chatting with him would increase his chances of being exposed. After about 30 minutes, the servants gathered together and entered St. Samuel Cathedral and turned into a side door. At a distance away from the priest, a servant stretched his arms and said, "How tiring." Klein pretended to look uninterested to the conversation due to his fatigue, as he tearfully nodded while participating in the conversation. Soon they returned to the servants' quarters, a compromise of 2 rather big rooms with many bunk beds inside. Beside each bed was a wardrobe and chest. Klein was immediately at a loss. He didn't know whether to head left or right. Here we go. Thankfully, he was a seer. He could solely rely on his spiritual intuition on matters that didn't involve beyond or mysterious domains. Furthermore, he was still holding onto a broom, hence he pretended to have his hand slip and secretly did a dowsing rod seeking. He received the revelation that he should head right. When he entered the room on the right, Klein deliberately slowed down a little, observing the actions of the other servants. Then he mimicked them by placing the broom in the region behind the door. Then he went outside the common bathroom to wash his face, rinsing his mouth and washing his feet. After he completed all this in a slow manner, the bed belonged to him revealed itself, the bed that wasn't occupied. Lying in bed, Klein felt relieved as he secretly sighed in relief. The servants were all exhausted, and before long, they fell asleep, producing a symphony of snores. Klein maintained his consciousness and very slowly removed creeping hunger. Following it up a tiny shape, he stuffed it inside the iron cigar, put it together with 6 copper whistle and Sinner's gold coin. Seconds turned to minutes, and he found it impossible to sleep due to anxiety. All he could do was rely on cogitation to force himself to sleep for a few hours. Bro, speedrunning his crown. He woke up a specific time, and can you guys do anything with the EXP, by the way? Are you guys actually able to do something? He woke up at a specific time and releases, like, can you like use it for like something in chat? Or I'm not sure what you can do with all that EXP. It can still be concealed. Klein nodded indiscriminately and made the wraith use the stained glass windows high above the bright stone floor to arrive at the staircase that led to the keepers above. No, I think it's just for the aura. Definitely, the aura is definitely working. Everybody's jealous of Alter right now, dude. It can still be controlled. Klein nodded indiscriminately, made the wraith use the stained glass window high above the bright stone floor tiles to arrive at the staircase that led to the keepers above. He believed that if Sinner had been contaminated ahead of time, making Chain's Gate's core seal think of it as one of its own, it definitely would have reacted and cleansed it. How could a wraith have the ability to move freely in the Orthodox Church's cathedrals? And due to the tacit approvals for the core seal and the disruption from the paper angel, the demigod-level archbishop that lived somewhere in the cathedral wasn't alerted, so they don't know. Okay, that's good. Under Klein's control and using the sensations from the contamination, the invisible center slowly walked to the second floor before turning left and finding the resistance of the keepers. It's Monday tomorrow. This week's Monday shifts is likely done by the keeper I met first. Klein had long figured out the roster, so he made the dark red coated wraith stealthily pass through the wooden door and flow into the different rooms to identify the target. Here we go, dude. As there were only a few people inside, he quickly found the pale elder with loose facial skin, sparse hair, and a big nose. Sinner immediately took out a sedative vial and placed it to the side. Then, before the keeper sensed anything, it possessed him. The keeper, who was in deep sleep, lost control over his body before he could even wake up to resist. All he could do was open his grayish-blue eyes and watch himself slowly pick up the vial and pull off the stopper. Then he downed the liquid itself. His body convulsed abnormally as his organs seemed to engage in a violent struggle. After a full minute, he slowly went limp and closed his eyes again, entering a dreamless sleep. After doing all this, Sinner left his body of the keeper and used all kinds of mirrors surface to leap back to the servants' quarters before entering Klein's body. Klein immediately emitted a cold, dead, and distant aura. Even showing expression appeared to be difficult. He slowly got out of bed and slowly left the servants' quarters. In the shadows and murals that weren't illuminated by the moonlight, he walked to the second floor and entered the target's room. Standing by the bedside, Klein, whilst in the appearance of a servant, slowly grew taller as his hair turned gray and sparse, while his nose enlarged significantly. In just a few... Damn, I licked my lips, man. I'm getting excited, dude. In just a few seconds, he looked identical to the keeper who just drank the sedative. Even his aura was identical. His aura would be stronger. Hello there. Didn't think I would stumble upon your stream again since the end of volume... Ooh, since the end of volume 1? Whoa, bro. Welcome back, dude. It's been a cool minute, Mick. It has been a cool minute. If you've been tuning in since the end of volume 1, that's crazy. We're literally on volume 4, bro. We've come such a long way. Damn, I lost my place, but it's okay, dude. And just let me reread this part again. In just a few seconds, he looked identical to the keeper who drank the sedative. Even his aura was identical. Changing into the black clergyman's coat that placed to the side, Klein moved the keeper's and servant's clothes underneath the bed and laid down as he kept note of him. At 5:30, he woke up ahead of time, finishing the white bread he had prepared the night before, and drank a cup of water. He then looked quietly out the window. Just as day broke, Klein maintained his deadpan state and walked out the door. He went to the first floor and following the path he had previously verified, he took a left turn. After walking for a moment, he wasn't surprised to see a priest. This was his experience as a former Nighthawk, therefore Klein wasn't too worried that he couldn't find the path. The priest stood outside a secret door that led underground. As he raised his right hand, he tapped 4 times clockwise on his chest and said, "May the goddess bless you." Praise the lady. Klein replied hoarsely, similarly drew a crimson moon. He didn't stay any longer, walked past the priest, under the lamps that lined the walls. He walked down the staircase and arrived at the crossroads. Based on his understanding of his environment, Klein believed that turning right would lead to the cathedral, and it will likely lead to the disguised security company of the organization belonging to the Nighthawks. Blackthorn Security Company? Walls closing in. Music? All right, bet. There's 3 lines left. Wait. There's 3 lines left before we play it. Based on his understanding of environment, Klein believed that turning right would lead to the cathedral, and it would likely lead to the disguised security company, other organizations belong to the Nighthawks. Therefore, he didn't hesitate to turn left. At that moment, oh shit, it's a red glove. Who is it? Hold up. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I already know who it's gonna be. All right, walls closing in. Holy fucking shit, it's actually gonna be a fight. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck, I can't spell it. Walls closing in. Okay. Holy shit. Oh, let me just close this. Okay, no, now the music man is here. We are safe. I'm cleaning my house. I can't stay in chat. No, it's okay, dude. It's okay. I apologize. Sorry, caps. No, you're good, bro. I do the same. Sometimes I'm texting and I don't even realize I have caps on. It happens to me all the time as well. I do the same shit. All right, here we go. I hear red glove. It has to be Leonard. There's no shot it's Crescent Sesame. He wouldn't be here. He's the only other hype red glove I can think of. It's probably Leonard. At that moment, he saw a man wearing a red glove walk over. The casually dressed man had black hair. Leonard has black hair and green eyes. It's Leonard. With a handsome look, definitely Leonard, our beautiful husband. He was none other than Leonard Mitchell. Here we go, dude. Chapter 831. That's the cliffhanger you guys told me about. I would have been so mad if I stopped right there. All right, let's keep reading, dude. Holy shit. 831. Heads up, man. We're not going to be able to read the whole thing. We got like 2 hours. So we're going to see how far we can get. People did say 36 is a good stop point, so we might have to stop there. He is here, our dear poet. Holy fucking shit, man. Our dear, beautiful, handsome poet is here. Oh my god, dude. He has arrived. I'm so excited. Upon seeing Leonard Klein's back muscles instantly stiffen, his nerves tense up. This is where we recruit him to the Terror Club after this whole scenario. That has to be what happens, dude. Upon seeing Leonard, Klein's back muscles instantly stiffened. His nerves tensed up like a fully drawn bow that could snap at any moment. He remembered very clearly that Leonard had a marauder pathway angel, Pallas Zeros, parasiting him. He could sense the uniqueness about his ancient... He could sense his ancient aura. He could sense the uniqueness about his body, and from that, see through his disguise. If that grandpa were to inform Leonard of the problem with the keeper in front of him, that would be troublesome. I'll just have to hope that my dear poet is afraid that his secret would be exposed and that he would feign ignorance. Oh, he wouldn't do anything. Back in Tegan, he often said that everyone has their secrets and that there's no need to worry about it. That's all regarding matters pertaining to the church. Who knows if he suddenly feels the need to uphold justice and decides to be loyal and take the risks to expose me. After all, this matter is very similar with the instance in Gwil. At that moment, Klein's forehead nearly broke out into a sweat. To be frank, he never expected to encounter Leonardo while heading to Chanescape because he was a red glove and not an ordinary Nighthawk. There was no need for him to be on duty, so there wasn't a need for him to be here at this moment in time. However, Klein immediately thought of a crucial point. The one that could detect his uniqueness was Pallas Zeros and not Leonard Mitchell. The former's attitude was more important. The grandpa knows that I know of his existence. Once he exposes my disguise and pushes me into a corner, he has to be prepared to be exposed by me. When the time comes, we'll definitely be traded blows with each other, benefiting no one. Oh my god, there's no shot they fight. I feel like Klein has to tell him, like, hey man, you and me both have a common interest in Zangwil, right? I feel like that has to be what he says. If I were him, I would pretend that nothing had happened. I wouldn't even remind Leonard Mitchell, giving my safety to be decided by the host. As he quickly cleared his train of thought, Klein composed himself and walked over towards the red glove Leonard Mitchell. Leonard indefinitely looked at the keeper with his grizzled, sparse hair. He couldn't help but raise his right hand to cover his mouth and yawn. Oh, okay. He has nothing better to do because he doesn't sleep at night, so he's gone to the duty room to play cards with the person on duty. With a perfect sleep list, Klein roughly understood the reason for the red glove poet appearing. red glove poet appearing. He recalled the reaction of the keeper when they met Nighthawks and Tegan. He silently nodded his head at Leonard and drew a moon with the right index and middle finger, tapping his chest 4 times in a clockwise manner. Leonard used the same action in response as he passed by the keeper without noticing anything. Klein silently exhaled as he maintained his usual pace and gait until he reached his destination. The iron black double door was heavy and cold. Engraved on it were 7 sacred emblems, appearing as though nothing could stir it. Klein turned his body to the side and took 2 steps to the side. He knocked on the keeper's door, and under the gaze of the Nighthawks on duty, he opened China's gate. The darkness deep inside immediately surged out. Even though there were silver candles with engraved patterns burning silently inside, they were unable to disperse such a feeling, and the ghostly blue flames accentuated the deathly silence. Meanwhile, Klein felt that something invisible in the darkness was grazing past his skin and entered deep into his body. It passed through the boundary of reality and illusions, connecting to Rafe Sinor, settling without even Is it the core? Settling without even activating his spirit vision, he saw black threads covering the area behind China's gate. They were gently swaying, either bundled or extended out as though a lady was spreading out her hair, or some monster was flaying its tentacles. Klein walked forward with a deadpan expression. After entering the sealed land, he turned around and closed China's gate. At that moment, all the sounds inside were completely... I'm sorry, he's inside China's gate right now, right? Is that what's happening? At that moment, all the sounds inside were completely cut off. The silence inside was like a kingdom of the dead. Oh, wait, he's actually inside China's gate. It made him imagine and feel fear. Klein reminded of himself occasionally watching the darkness in bed with his eyes open. He didn't dare to sleep even though he hadn't heard any ghost stories. It's no wonder the goddess that has the title of Empress of Horror. Clyde cast his gaze to the side and raised the lantern in the corner, lighting it with great familiarity. Dim yellow light immediately poured. I have never expected us to go inside here, dude. What the fuck? Dim yellow light immediately poured out before tainting with a ghostly blue. Klein, who was wearing a black clergyman's robe, wasn't in a rush to head for the basement basement 2. It's a tongue twister. He wasn't in a rush to head to basement 2 to search for the Antigonus family notebook. Instead, he stayed behind the gate and patiently waited. He was doing it in the event that the Nighthawks were in urgent need of something, but could only wait until daybreak since they were unable to retrieve them at night. Based on his experience, keepers were most easily disturbed in the 5 minutes of them entering China's gate. As long as he survived that period, and as long as there weren't any additional accidents, the normal retrieval process of materials would happen after 8. That was the standard working knowledge of the Nighthawks and civilian staff. In other words, once Klein lasted the 5 minutes, he wouldn't be disturbed by the Nighthawks for the next 2 hours. Of course, he didn't. So long as he survives that, he's good for 2 hours. Of course, he didn't have that much time for his operation. The Church of the Evernight opened at 8, and the servants would wake up an hour or an hour and a half ahead of time to get down to work. After 6:30, the other servants could realize and know that one of them was missing. Time ticked as Klein's heartbeat couldn't help but speed up. He found the 5 minutes excruciating. Finally, his countdown finally ended as he cast his gaze towards the stone staircase in the darkness and passage that led to the second floor. At that moment in time, there was no one in here that could restrict him. At this stage, Klein believed that he had overcome 70% of difficulties. The remaining 30% consisted around he would leave after obtaining the notebook. Oh shit, this is gonna be a good arc, dude. Of course, there was always a certain chance for all kinds of accidents to happen. Klein didn't wish to be careless as he raised a lantern and walked to the stone staircase. To other Beyonders, the first level behind China's Gate was actually a lot more attractive than the sealed artifacts. There were all kinds of Beyonder ingredients, potion formulas, and secret knowledge here. There were even captured heretics that had been apprehended, as well as unaffiliated Beyonders. Whoa! Be it trying to be rich, to advance, or to rescue their companions, an infiltrator just needs to search around this level. However, Klein needed to head deeper inside where the dangerous items were sealed. We're going to run into something besides the Antigonus family notebook that shouldn't be unsealed. Passing through a few... What is this? What if this is all part of Ince's scheme and he coincidentally breaks the seal for something else behind China's Gate? Passing through a few... Knowing Cuttlefish, something like that could happen. Passing through a few tightly locked stone chambers, he clearly sensed people inside. However, they weren't making a fuss or roaring, nor were they pleading for mercy or shouting for help. They were silently lying there sitting there. Their auras had already turned cold. The lantern flickered at its illumination. The staircase that led down. Klein focused again and steadily walked deeper underground. He didn't run, afraid that he would trigger a negative reaction from the core seal. As it became darker, the ghostly blue flames from the elegant candle stands on the two ends had weakened. They appeared as though they were about to be extinguished at any moment. Would it be outlandish to call Klein Lisalgabi? Come on, man. Of course, I feel like Wait, hold up. A messiah? Is it controversial to say that somebody acts like a messiah? I don't know, man. I can see that. I can see that happening. As it became darker, the ghostly blue flames from the elegant candle stand on the two ends had weakened. They appeared as though they were about to be extinguished at any moment, and at that moment, the pure darkness might bring about unimaginable, horrific changes. I can see that happening, though, for Klein. He could be like a messiah because of everything that's like surrounding his life right now in this world. Klein repressed his instinctive fear as he finally walked down the stairs and came to the basement too. With a Wraith's night vision, Klein discovered that there were strange walls made of steel, bricks, mud, and silver. They were sectioned off into different regions, with certain spots open and other rooms tightly shut. All of them had a sealed artifact. With a lantern in hand, he turned left of the scene before Klein's eyes lit up. He saw a burning flame in a glowing red and black anthracite and charcoal. The region was in a half-open state. Inside was a bathtub-like object made of steel. The area beneath it dug open and was stuffed with anthracite, charcoal, and other flammable objects. They kept burning, making the steel bathtub produce bubbling sounds, letting them steam emate out, condensing on the ceiling and dripping down like rain. An artifact that needs to be soaked in hot water for the seal, and the keepers need to periodically add anthracite and charcoal to prevent the fire from extinguishing. If there's a sealed artifact that can constantly emit high temperatures, they can be placed together, making the seal easy. Klein glanced at the steel bathtub, hoping that no accident spoiled his plans. He approached it and used the tool to add some anthracite into the fire pit. When he looked up, he noticed something through the corner of his eyes. Immersed under the hot water in the bathtub was a silver metallic object. Together, they seemed to form a heavy... The Berserker armor? Together, they seemed to form a heavy full-body armor, and a part of it had unremovable dark red bloods. It's the Berserk armor that Leonardo used in Volume 2. And a part of it had unremovable dark red bloodstains and spatter red bloods. 142, an ancient god's blood. So now it's permanently stored in the backland diocese. Klein had... I wonder if Klein can steal a piece of that blood. Klein had seen the sealed artifact before. Like, if he has that item that makes him prone to stealing, maybe. Sealed artifact before as the corresponding information surfaces in his eyes. Oh, wait, he didn't bring it. Never mind. Just as he was about to retract his gaze, he saw the Spartan silver helmet. The helmet's visor had been pulled down, making its interior appear dark. At that instant, Klein felt the gaze was penetrating it and casting itself on him. The armor's looking at him. He trembled as he hurriedly took 2 steps back, his heartbeat racing erratically. Not daring to absorb it any further, Klein composed himself and cast his gaze forward as he steadily walked forward and left the area. After passing through a few sealed areas, his spiritual perception was triggered. He felt that something on the right was summoning him. Furthermore, it was producing the beating sound of an expanding and contracting heart. Indeed, the Antigonus family notebook had been waiting for me all this time. What the fuck? Klein silently confirmed his earlier theory, and following the illusionary summoning, he changed directions and approached it. In just 2 or 3 minutes, he saw a room with a jar stone door. It was dark inside without any source of light. With the lantern's illumination, an empty bookshelf formed from the white bone appeared in Klein's eyes. On it was an ancient book and a black hardcover. It was the Antigonus family notebook. Wow. Wait. Oh, he hears Hornicus Flagera. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, I can hear the audio spiking. Hornicus Flagera. Illusionary voices drilled into Klein's ears as he confirmed his target. Why is he hearing it? I thought, so he not only heard it when he drank the seer potion or the clown potion, but he's also hearing it when he comes in contact with the Antigonus family notebook. Why? Things happened very smoothly, but Klein didn't dare to be careless or rash. He carefully entered the room as he slowly approached, afraid that the mechanism that sealed the Antigonus family notebook would inflict harm to him. Hence, I have the biggest smile on my face right now. Oh, my freaking cheeks are starting to hurt, man. Hence, when he closed in, a hand in a dark red sleeve suddenly reached out from his abdomen. It was Rafe Sinor's hand. One of the principles of marionettes, use a marionette as much as possible in situations that a marionette could be used. If anything were to happen, the marionette would bear the brunt. At that moment, there was a slam from the direction of the door as though someone had walked in. Klein's pupils dilated as he lunged from the bone shelf without any thought, making the marionette hand by the abdomen grab the Antigonus family notebook. At the same time, his right hand reached into the cloths as they opened the iron cigar case and were creeping hunger. He was attempting to teleport directly outside before the core seal reacted. Oh shit! During this process, the scene of the door naturally appeared in his mind. A figure wearing a hooded classic robe was standing there. The figure was a pretty face that wore a lifeless expression. Is it the angel? The lifeless expression? The deep black eyes lacked any spirituality. It's the angel! The high-ranking member of the church that directly wiped Mr. 8 out of the... Oh, my God! I was gonna say this before I forget. I was gonna say at the beginning of this chapter, watch his new marionette be the fucking angel 1117 or 0117. I should have said at the beginning of this stream. I was gonna say very early on, his next marionette was gonna be the angel. Like, now what better way to replace fucking an Admiral of Blood than freaking 117? 117, right? The high-ranking member of the church that directly wiped Mr. A out of existence and ended the Great Smoggle Backland. Why would she be hiding underground? That's not logical. Just as it says, oh, he doesn't know she's a sealed artifact. That's not logical. Is she gonna be smiling at him? Oh shit, dude, what the fuck? I'm so excited right now. What do you mean he's cooked? What do you mean? Is he cooked? Wait. But why did she... Oh, wait, hold up. Let's keep reading. That's not logical. Just as a sense of horror emerged in Clint's... I thought she was on his side right now. That's not logical. Just as a sense of horror emerged in Clint's heart, he instinctively lowered his head to look at his body. His body was... Oh, he's fucking cooked. No. Wait, is he gonna disappear? His body was rapidly being wiped away like an eraser. Erasing a pencil drawing. Before he could touch the Antigonus family notebook, he had... What? What? He had completely vanished? What the fuck? Please tell me you get sent to the abyss, bro. What? What town? Was he sent to Morristown? Wait, no. Wait, let me pause. Bro, she insta-killed Mr. A and bro thinks he can make her into a marionette. Okay, wait. Because remember how volume 2... Before I pause and up there times... Remember how she smiled at him? I thought she smiled at him because she's... Oh! She's not doing this to... She purposely sent him to this world because she's trying to help him. She purposely did this. Why else would she smile at him at the end of volume 2? Hmm? Okay, let's pause. Update 832. I think something came in the mail that I can use for my mic. Let me go bring it in. Let's see if there's an actual change in quality. Hold up. And hopefully that helps with all the audio spikes. Hold up. I hear it. I heard something outside. I think something's here. I'll be right back. Holy fucking shit. Want him to go to hell? You want... No. We don't know where he's at. Hold up. We'll see what happens. I feel like this was all planned. I'll be right back. I think something came in the mail. God's wife from the eraser. All right, here we go. Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready to upgrade our stream? We're about to upgrade stream right now. Is that a JoJo reference? Or here we go. You guys ready? Our stream is about to update right here. Test, test. Oh, okay. That sounds different for me. How does it sound for you guys? Wow. Bro, we just upgraded. Qualitative change to the stream. Bro, look at... Do you guys... Amazing. Yo. Oh, hey. Yo, how's the audio quality? We have now had a qualitative change as a streamer. We now have a freaking mic filter after 832 chapters. Sequence 8 mic accomplished. We have finally advanced another sequence on this streamer pathway. Look at that. Your mic is a mushroom now? Oh, what if we paint this as a mushroom? Okay, let's go straight into the next chapter. As I eat a chip, we're not even going to do timestamps because, no, we do have timestamps. Chapter 832, bro, now has a mushroom mic. Frank is everywhere. Everywhere I go, I see Mike. Everywhere I go, I see Frank. 832 is called... Wow, that's really spicy. It's called Town. Wait, let me read this last thing. Let me eat one more chip. Upgrading the camera before the mic, now that I think about it, kinda is a weird order for what you're doing. It kinda is, man. I never bought one. So hopefully it helps with the audio pops. We'll see how it goes. You guys let me know. Chapter 832 is called Town. Now that we have this new qualitative change as a streamer. Sequence 8 mic. Here we go. Before his brain short-circuited, Klein only had time for 2 thoughts. How powerful, there's no way to resist. I wonder if I can be revived from such a death. As his thoughts resonated, Klein's vision turned to pitch black. He lost all his senses as he entered a dreamless slumber. After an unknown period of time, the silent darkness suddenly stirred. He vaguely felt a sense of grogginess as he felt a cold wind blow at him. As his thoughts thawed bit by bit, Klein slowly opened his eyes and saw a fog everywhere above him. What? Music change? Okay. I feel like we need to play some eerie music now. How did I know you were going to say the Vanita song? Okay, please, Discord, open up. Come on, Discord. If music domain does not open for me, you guys have to post it in chat. Yo, what's up, dude? Oh, shit. All right. I got it. Let me open it up. Music domain. Benitez. Thank you, Cami. I got it right here. Okay, it's loading. Holy shit, I'm fucking stress eating. I got it. Yeah, we got the mic, man. We upgraded, Moon. Okay. Oh, fuck, I ate too quick. Right away, I think we're gonna... I'm gonna say it right now. The freak... Oh, my God. He's gonna... His new marionette is gonna be Mr. A. If his new marionette isn't Mr. A, it's gonna be the Demoness of Despair. It's gonna be one of those two. When they fight, oh man, and then he's gonna have to team up with one of them because the other person's trying to kill him, and the other person's gonna be like, "You're like my enemy's enemy is my friend." Some crazy shit's gonna go down in this chapter, on this arc. After an unknown period of time, the silent darkness suddenly stirred. He vaguely felt a sense of grogginess as he felt a cold wind blow at him. As his thoughts thawed bit by bit, Klein slowly opened his eyes and saw a fog everywhere above him. The crimson moon was hidden in it, occasionally showing itself. Did I just resurrect again, or have I entered the underworld? Underworld, okay. Even if the latter, that's not too problematic. I might be able to get the skeleton messenger to contact Mr. Izik. However, I have to become an undead creature or spirit world creature. Klein's mind was still a little heavy, as though someone had injected glue into his brain, preventing him from expanding on thoughts. Slowly, he sensed his body and heard his heart beating. His mind quickly turned lucid as he believed the possibility of him resurrecting was higher. Perhaps he had been thrown out into the wilderness. Klein's joints produced a crack as he jumped to his feet. Without checking his physical condition, he first observed his surroundings and confirmed the type of environment he was in. The first thing he saw was a fog that permeated the area and the dark and stillness and of the night. And closely was a tiny town. A tiny town? Even Klein believes he's cooked? Nah, there's no shot he's cooked, bro. The most striking building in the town was an extremely ancient sphered cathedral. What? It was completely black in color. There wasn't a bell tower, and at the top of it were pitch black raven spirals spiraling around it. Around the cathedral... Okay, hold up. Pitch black raven spiraling around it. This sounds like some crazy... abyss shit, maybe. I might be wrong. Around the cathedral were many buildings. There were normal 2-story residences and simple wooden huts. There were bread shops with hanging signboards and grayish-white mills using a water wheel for power. However, there wasn't a single pedestrian. They seemed to be asleep in the quietness of the night. As the seer, Klein instantly found the town very familiar, as though he had seen it somewhere in the past. What? After a brief recall, he remembered what it represented. What? This was the source of danger of the nighttime in the ruins of the Battle of Gods? What? What? From Volume 3? When he before he digested his marionettis potion? After entering the easternmost region of the Sonia Sea, if one didn't sleep and enter a dream world when night fell, it would be discovered that the person would have gone missing once it was daytime. Klein had once been jolted awake in a dream with the Saint of Darkness, and he saw in the distance this place which was enshrouded in the tranquility of the night. There was a mysterious and bizarre foggy town. He even suspected that all the living beings that vanished at night in the ruins had entered the town. Now he was there himself. He was less than 100 meters from the foggy town. It's related to the night. The target vanished like it was erased. The town of that high-ranking member of the church doesn't directly kill her enemies, and she instead sends them here. Do the living beings that vanish at night in the ruins also encounter such situations? So both places, or both that location and the Sonia Sea and the angels send them to the same spot? What? Is that they might still be alive? Of course, it's also possible that I can be resurrected, thus appearing here. Amidst his thoughts, Klein retracted his gaze and used his ability as a clown to observe his physical condition. He had already changed back into Klein Moretti, but he was still wearing the Keeper's black clergyman robe, but he didn't have any signs of an injury on him. I'm gonna do this while we're live. You guys let me know if there's an actual qualitative change in the mic. Filled with experience, Klein quickly pulled... Oh, I hear it. Klein quickly calmed down... It's a lot quieter. Klein quickly calmed down. His right hand reached into his pocket and opened the iron cigar. Let's just put the mushroom back on. He opened the iron cigar case. He took out the folded human skin glove and wore it on his left hand. After confirming the creeping hunger... Oh, wait, left hand. After confirming the creeping hunger could still be used, Klein lifted a Zix copper whistle and blew into it. However, the skeletal messenger didn't appear in his spirit vision, and he quickly activated it. Klein wasn't too surprised with such an outcome. Instead, he found it normal. After all, the people who had vanished on the eastern front of the Sonia Sea had yet to be found. After all, over the years, there was likely no lack of beyonders here who could summon messengers, such as the members of the numinous Episcopate. This place is directly isolated from the spirit world. From the looks of it, traveling can't be used, as expected of a high-ranking member of the church sent to deal with the great smog of Backland. She sends her targets as a form of eternal exile or imprisonment. What? It's impossible to use ordinary or simple means to contact the outside world. To escape from this place, even saints will find it difficult. Is sick. Klein didn't lose himself to anxiety as he still felt confident. He placed his Zix copper whistle back into the iron cigar case and prepared to take 4 steps counterclockwise. He went head above the gray fog to escape the imprisonment of the fog town. The immortal Lord of the Heavens and Earth for blessings. The Sky Lord of the Heavens and Earth. Whoa, we haven't heard of this since like Volume 1. The Sky Lord of Heaven of Earth for blessings. The Exalted Thearch of Heaven and Earth for blessings. The Celestial Worthy of Heaven and Earth for blessings. With 1 sentence per step, Klein rapidly completed the ritual. However, he didn't hear the familiar frenzied ravings, nor did he see the endless emanating grayish-white fog. This Klein's pupils constricted as he fell into a momentary daze. I give him credit in the description, though. What is going on, dude? Klein, you guys thought he was cooked? Dude, what? What is going on? Where is he? He's cooked, chat? No, he's not cooked. Don't gaslight me into believing he's cooked. No, he has to cook. He is the fool, man. If there's only one person to escape from this place, it is the fool. With his ancient aura. This place was isolated from the mysterious space above the gray fog. This made his greatest trump card unstable. Klein had relied on the area above the gray fog to escape danger many times in the past, but this time this solution was ineffective. This was the first time he was encountering such a situation. Man, it feels as though my cheat has been blocked. Cheap blog is enabled. Clan and Boot to relax his tense emotions. Based on his knowledge of mysticism, he suspected the Foggy Town was likely related to a true deity because, Foggy Town, the gray fog, above the gray fog, it's isolated from the spirit world. It's probably above the spirit world. And if it's related to a deity, it's probably related to the deity of the gray fog. Based on his knowledge of mysticism, he suspected that the Foggy Town was likely related to a true deity because this was the only explanation as to why he couldn't head above the gray fog. This place, because he's already in the gray fog, bro. That's why he can't even go above. He's above and he doesn't even know it yet. This place has close ties to the night. I was sent here after encountering a high-ranking member. Could it be a prison that the goddess created herself? Okay, hold up. But she is the mother in concealment. Concealment. Okay, perhaps she can directly make people or items enter a concealed state, making people in the real world never to be able to find them again. Klein seriously contemplated and decisively decided to explore the Foggy Town. This is because the method to leave this place was most likely to be there. At this point, he was no longer worried about not being able to convey the Terror Club. Of course, there was no need for him to worry about it for now. He had canceled the coming Terror gathering ahead of time because the operation of stealing and taking his family notebook was fraught with danger and variables. Klein suspected that he might end up dead and be unable to resurrect in time. Therefore, he used reasonable excuse to get everyone to make additional preparations for a week. After making up his mind, Klein immediately got the Wraith inside him to float beside him. The marionette's condition was already in a terrible state of the dead and the cold aura was something suitable, making his control of the spirit body threads somewhat rough. Thankfully, I can still use him for a few more days. Although Mr. A was erased by the high-ranking church member, he might be living nearby. Sounds like a new marionette. I have to be careful about this person who's equivalent to a lunatic. Klein transferred into German's Burrow as he made Sinner walk ahead and enter the Foggy Town. Following the marionettist principle he had concluded, he stood in the back with a distance of at least 110 meters between them. Over time, he digested his control over his marionette to 120 meters. There was also a reduction in the time he needed to gain initial control of the spirit body threads and completely change someone into a marionette. Faced with an enemy whose spirit body was equally strong, the former took 16 seconds and the latter took 4 minutes. In the silent foggy world, Senor in the dark red coat and the old triangular hat didn't take long to enter the bizarre and mysterious town. Many of the building's doors were still open as though they were welcoming guests from afar. With his marionette's vision, Klein saw that there was a half-chewed loaf of white bread on this table. So, okay, so this is recent. Maybe it's Mr. A. There were wine glasses for red wine and messy silver cutlery. It looked like someone had been enjoying dinner, but there was no one present. The owners of these different houses seemed to have been suddenly vanished into thin air. Vanished. The term suddenly surfaced in Klein's mind as he hurriedly made Sinner cast his gaze towards the grayish-white mill. Inside the mill, the wind-powered mill was rotating silently, but other than the floor that was scattered with flour, no flour came out again. The scene feels familiar. What? The scene feels familiar. I seem to have heard of it before. Klein frowned bit by bit as he relied on his marionette. He continued surveying his environment while carefully recalling the similar situation. And just as he was considering using a dream divination to question his spirituality, he found the corresponding answer. A similar scene had appeared in ancient ruins that appeared as the main peak of the... Wait, what? Where is he? Is he at the Hornicus mountain range? What? A similar scene had appeared in the ancient ruins that appeared at the main peak of the Hornicus mountain range. Okay, so we're getting this back. How is this all connected, bro? What the fuck? What? What? My brain, man. I can't comprehend this right now. Based on the literature, the buildings there had every arrangement and decoration well preserved. Even the wall murals didn't have any sense of damage. The table was arranged with cutlery, and there were dried stains of rot on the dining plates. Rot? Okay, that was... Rot and maggots were in Hornicus Mountain Range vision. Plot is thickening. Something else is thickening. My mic thickened. The mushroom expanded. In some rooms, there were half-filled bottles of alcohol that had almost turned into plain water. The discoverer mentioned that when he first discovered the remains, he had the belief that the people resided there had just vanished all of a sudden. Yo, what's up, dude? Welcome. There's some relation between this foggy town and the main peak of the Hornicus mountain range? No way. After trying to avoid it, I ended up coming to it. Klein's facial features twitched involuntarily. For a moment, he couldn't believe what was on his mind. Of course, the scene was just similar and wasn't enough to make him come up with such a conclusion. After taking a deep breath and slowly exhaling, Klein forced himself to calm down. He controlled Rafe Sinor and made him venture deeper into the foggy town. At that moment, he heard light footsteps. Fuck, who is it, dude? Klein's heart tensed up as he hurriedly hid inside the mill and made his marionette stop. In just a few seconds, Rafe Sinor saw a woman. Oh my god, it's the Demoness of Despair. Saw a woman walk out from a nearby alley. She wore a pure white robe. Wait. She didn't... Yes, that's her. She wore a pure white robe. Yeah, that was her. It's the Demoness of Despair from Volume 2. She wore a pure white robe and her hair was pulled back, revealing her long white neck. She looked extremely beautiful. Oh shit, it is her. Things to take note of. Next chapter, bro. 833. Holy shit. Next chapter. 40 minutes. 57 seconds. How am I on time? Okay, I got 2 hours before I have to go out with Mrs. But I have to end stream in about an hour and a half, maybe. So we should be able to reach to 36. All right, so we're good. We're still good on time. Chapter 833. Things to take note of. Let me lower my thing a little bit. Inside the dark, foggy town, the woman who walked out of the alley seemed to be out of place with her surroundings. She was pure, stately, and untamed. She was gorgeous that it lit up the eyes of anyone whose gaze landed on her. As for her pure, simple robe and her loosely pulled black hair, they added to her bearings and languidness. That gorgeous woman also noticed Sinor. Her expression froze for a moment before she smiled. Using a sweet voice, she said, "Sinor, when did you become a marionette? If not for the powers of the Evernight contaminating you this badly, I wouldn't have recognized you." Although she looked like she was talking to Sinor, she was actually conversing with the controller through the marionette. This kind of dead and cold aura can't be hidden at all. I can't fool beyonders of higher sequences. I was still hoping that I can hide somewhere inconspicuous and use Admiral Blood Center to make contact with her so as to maximize my own safety. Display screens away from the power of the Grey Fog, so if I were to die, I likely won't be able to resurrect. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So if he dies in here, it's GG. Klein hid inside the grayish-white mill and made the marionette speak hoarsely. If you could leave, you'd easily find out that I've been serving my master for more than a month ago. He used Admiral Blood's tone experience to answer as though he was still alive. This was the acting principle of marionettists, to let each marionette have their unique identity and setting. Meanwhile, Klein also buried a key word, leave, in preparation to broach the topic of the leaving. In this bizarre and mysterious town, he didn't have the thoughts of instantly killing any demoness that he saw, ignoring the question of there being any good demoness and whether he was equipped with the strength. Any good demoness? Maybe that's how he justifies recruiting Trissy at the end of this volume. And whether he was equipped with the strength to do so, just the fact that they were trapped in here made it imperative that he communicate with her for intelligence to seek a way to get out. This was enough to make him choose peaceful coexistence for the time being. The woman in a simple white robe chuckled and said, not forgetting to constantly act. From the looks of it, you will quickly digest a marionettist potion. Damn, she is good. A member of the Secret Order. She's very familiar with the Seer Pathway, huh? The Demoness Sect was a secret organization that was active in the 4th Epoch. Even if they didn't have close ties with the Zartor or the Antigonus families, they should be quite familiar with each other. It's very normal to understand the Seer Pathway. Of course, the premise is that this lady is a demoness. Klein's heart stirred as he deliberately asked, are there any other possibilities? He tried to sound her out to see if other organizations might wield control over the Seer Pathway. The beautiful and pure lady walked forward and leaned towards Admiral Blood Center as she said with a smile, it doesn't matter which organization you belong to. We have been exiled here and it's practically eternal imprisonment. Nah, bro. That's low-key prejudice of Klein because they like to get some. Touché. The past no longer matters. What matters is the future. Whether we can cooperate to find the way is leaving. I failed to sound her out. Klein made a Rafe reply. That's exactly what I was thinking. How may I address you? As the lady approached Sinor, Klein caught a whiff of a refreshing fragrance with his marionette's sense of smell. Due to her words, he suddenly had a baffling thought to help each other in such a perilous situation while abandoning all morals to help warm each other's soul with their bodies. She's like a demoness, huh? Her voice sounds more familiar the more I listen to her. But why can't I put my thumb on it? What a pity. There's no way to use dream divination in such a situation. She'll be able to seize the opportunity while I'm unconscious, and it's hard to predict what will happen. Klein follows slightly. This beautiful woman with a ting of languidness raised her hand to stroke her hair, accentuating her petite ear. Panatia? Her name is Panatia? Klein acting as a marionette as I speak. I love it, dude. I love this whole like sequence, at least for him so far. Panatia, what about you? Klein had originally planned on randomly choosing a disguise such as the Aurora Order's Mr. X or Deaf Announcer's second mate, Kerchies. After all, he couldn't use Creeping Hunger to simulate their powers, but he ultimately gave up the disguise as directly said German Sparrow. He didn't know when this suspected demoness had entered the foggy town, so he was unable to eliminate the possibility that she knew about the Admiral Blood's disappearance. Panatia nodded and asked, "How did you get in?" Klein didn't keep the truth from her, and he said with a marionette's mouth, "I encountered an unknown lady. She wore a hood and her eyes were like the night, but it lacked any spirituality." Panatia fell silent for 2 seconds before saying, "So it's her, huh?" She didn't continue in detail and said with a smile, "What did you actually do? You actually managed to get the Church of the Evernight to send her to deal with you." Panatia had changed to the pronoun she used. Her, that lady is an angel, and ecstatic from the church. Panatia seems to know much. Oh, she did say it's you, right? Oh, she did know something about the angel. I forgot about that. She said, "Oh, it's you," before she got erased. Panatia seems to know much about her. Klein's thoughts whirled as she said vaguely, "I infiltrated St. Simon Cathedral and attempted to steal a sealed artifact, but in the end, he didn't go into details because he had no idea how he encountered the lady." Klein believed that as an angel, it was impossible for the lady to keep living behind St. Simon Cathedral's Channis Gate. There was nothing in her that required an important figure like her to keep watch on the entire time. As that so she is indeed in the basement of St. Simon Cathedral. Panatia seemed to confirm something. In the secret organizations, the word saint is not used when talking about St. Simon Cathedral. I should take note of this detail in the future. Klein ruminated over her choice of words. Panatia didn't continue on the topic, and she said with a smile, "All right, let's not bother with past. Just as I said, what's important is the future and how we can escape." Klein used this opportunity to make Sinner ask, "What do you know about this place?" Panatia's glanced at the spired cathedral in the middle of town. Panatia glanced at the spired cathedral in the middle of the town and said, "This place isn't the real or the spirit world, nor is it the astral world. It's in some kind of secret hidden state. I've explored most of this area, including the area outside the town. I didn't manage to find any clues. All that's left is the cathedral. Perhaps all the secrets are hidden inside." "Why don't you explore the cathedral?" Klein asked. Oh my god, the cathedral is the cathedral from Hornicus Flagellara. The abandoned castle, the abandoned cathedral, or the abandoned throne. "Why don't you explore the cathedral?" Klein asked with his marionette's mouth. Panatia yanked her pure white robe. What? She yanked her pure white robe. On it were signs of wear and tear. My intuition tells me that there's extreme danger inside. Upon saying that, she switched topics, and now there's a solution. Your marionette can help us scout. Even if it's lost, it wouldn't do you any harm. Don't worry. As long as we gain an understanding of the situation inside, I'll find a chance to give you a better marionette. After all, it doesn't look like it can last long. Okay, what? Are we going to have the demoness as a marionette? There's nothing unreasonable about that, but I don't trust you. After all, you are most likely a demoness. Klein didn't agree or object to it as he took the opportunity to get started to ask, "Are there any signs to take note of while in here?" Panatia pursed her lips and said, "Due to various reasons, a sizable number of people end up here, but they have all vanished." All vanished? Klein's heart palpitated as he asked, "What happened?" Panatia sighed and said, "There are things I'm not sure about. She encountered those buildings and ate some of the food inside. Then they vanished instantly, and this time the results of divination indicate that they've lost their lives and are undergoing eternal sleep." There will be erasure and vanishing events in the foggy town. Furthermore, there were no longer this. Klein was horrified before he thought of another matter. He nearly blurted out, "Once you feel hungry, afraid that it won't result in an anomaly." He forcibly held his tongue and made Sinner ask her indirectly, "How long have you been in here?" As though sighing and laughing, Panatia said, "Perhaps it's been half a year." Damn, man, it's been a while. Yeah, we're in June. Yeah, so it has been half a year since the Great Smog incident. "I've witnessed many people cannibalize others for subsistence. Thankfully, I don't need much and can live very long with a bit of food. And on a human's body, there is food that won't damage the body too significantly." As she spoke, she raised her hand and pointed at the crimson moon hanging behind the fog. Another thing to take note of is that once the crimson moon turns clear, there will be changes here. It would become extremely dangerous. I've been severely injured as a result. As she said that, she turned to point at a tear in her pure white robe. Klein subconsciously made Sinner cast his gaze onto it, and he saw that at her collarbone, underneath the tear, there is a deep wound that exposed her bone amidst the fair, supple skin. At this moment, the skin transformed, producing dense patterns of mystery and color, of darkness and evil. Klein's mind seemed to explode as ravings and cries resounded in it. What the f*** is this, bro? Meanwhile, his breathing became difficult as his body rapidly weakened. He couldn't help but collapse backwards as he broke into a coughing fit. Then he saw the pure white robe and the two long female legs, Panatia. The lady had already entered the grayish-white mill, and she watched the struggling German sparrow. She cracked the corners of her lips and revealed the blood-colored tendrils and the gaps between her neat white teeth. She softly said, "Got you?" Whoa! Whoa! He fucking fell for a demoness? Ain't no shot, bro. He is so cooked. What? Klein fell for the oldest trick in the book. My man. He flew too close to the sun. He was literally thinking, you know what? It ain't that bad. And they got him. Next chapter. Next chapter. Good luck. 50 minutes. 47 seconds. Let me stress eat and eat like 2 chips. That made you look. Hold up. Let me stress eat a little bit. Give me a sec. Client's about to discover if the demoness don't taste bad. We're about to find out if it actually ain't that bad, man. It's a music change time. Another music change? Are we playing battle music? Hold up. Are we playing battle music? No, not yet. Okay. All right. Wait, hold up. Not yet. Not yet. All right. Chapter 834 is called Good Luck. Got you. Invisible threads emanated over as Pantea said that. They quickly wrapped around German Sparrow as though she was binding him into a cocoon. At this moment, the figure in the black clergyman robe suddenly turned thin, transforming into a paper figurine covered in metal dust. Klein's figure appeared. Oh, he used paper figurine. Klein's figure appeared outside the grayish-white mill as he ran frantically towards the depths of the town. He was a person who had seen the eternal blazing sun's true body and lived. He had a certain level of resistance towards a spirit body impacted and the inclination of loss of control brought about by a mythical creature form. Furthermore, Panatia wasn't a complete mythical creature, therefore, even without the Grey Fox's help, Klein was able to recover from the racking headache. As he suppressed his body's mutation, he sensed that he had been inflicted with ailments. While collapsing, he used a violent coughing as a cover for him to use paper figurine substitutes. Paper figurines were mythical items, nor did they have any spirituality. Hence, Klein wasn't afraid that it would trigger a reaction from the core steel behind Chana's gate. I'm sorry, how is Chana's gate still supposed to detect this if he was sent somewhere else? Hence, he had brought quite a number. Oh, that's why he brought a lot of them. Okay, never mind. He's not worried about the gate. He's just saying he brought a lot because of the gate. He had brought quite a number with him. As Klein ran forward, he rubbed his right thumb and middle finger and lit up the floor piled inside the mill. Boom. The flour burst into flames as the mill was sent flying. The windmill outside collapsed to the ground as Panatia's figure crumbled bit by bit in the intense blast as scarlet flames as though she was a mirror. Almost at the same moment, her white-robed figure appeared behind Klein. Her loose, pulled back hair instantly flared up and wildly extended into Klein's direction. Damn, dude. No, that's why he brought them because the gate couldn't detect them while others could be detected. Got it. Yeah, my bad. As Klein snapped his fingers to ignite a tree leaf beside him, he controlled Sinner to use a mirror leap to appear in the window on a town-stored resistance besides Patia. Then he attempted to make the terrifying woman's eyes reflect Sinner's figure to complete the race possession. Scarlet flame suddenly leaped up and enveloped Klein's body, making him vanish from where he was as he appeared in the flame tens of meters away. As for Panatia's gem-like eyes, they seemed to hide mirrors that reflected the figures wearing an old triangular hat and dark red coat. They overlapped one another and set it into the chaos. Klein didn't hesitate to let Sinner leave the window, transforming into a werewolf state to charge for the demoness. Oh, you're right. Before Wraith, it was there was werewolf. Got it. I forgot about werewolf. It was a prior state. Yes, Klein had already determined that Panatia was a demoness, and she was a demoness at the demigod level. The strands of the black hair, as well as the invisible transparent threads, flared up, forming a ludicrous spider web that enveloped Sinner, whose body was covered with thick, short hair. However, just as she made contact, Admiral Blood's figure instantly phased away, causing the black hair and illusionary demoness threads to pass through it. Without being able to touch him, it was obviously unable to bind him. He had taken his wraith form. Panatia's expression didn't change at all. All she did was produce a harumph. Suddenly, the thick hair strands and illusionary threads that made contact with Sinner burst into the dark and silent black flames. They used spirituality as fuel, turning into wraith into a torch. Paw, paw, paw. Sinner turned back into a werewolf from the burning as his limbs fell to the ground from the flame injuries. With that, a Sequence 5 wraith perished completely. It's over? He's gone. A Sequence 5 wraith perished immediately. Damn! And at this moment, Klein had repeatedly snapped his fingers, jumping into different columns of fire and using his marionette's sacrifice to escape deeper into the town. Damn, man. R.I.P., man. Admiral Blood. Damn, dude. Suddenly, Klein felt his forehead burning hot. His lungs began to heave as he panted loudly and emitted heated air. As he had been hit by the impact of seeing an incomplete mythical creature's form, he had been a little too slow at using paper figurine substitutes. He had failed to swap out his element, and he suffered some of the damage. Klein had originally managed that he had just needed to persist until he escaped Panatia's range of the influence. But to his surprise, his condition was worsened faster than he had expected. Furthermore, despite having opened up a gap of hundreds of meters, he didn't escape the signs of being infected. Thud, just as he was about to continue using Flaming Jump, Klein's knees buckled as he collapsed to the ground without successfully snapping his fingers. What? He collapsed? Immediately he heard Panatia's pleasant laughter in his ears. Even if you were to escape to the other side of town, there's no way to escape my elements. You ought to know that back in Backland, the entirety of the Eastbor was immersed in the plague fog I created. She fucking made that? I forgot about that. So she was able to envelop the entirety of East Borough. Apart from the most distant Emperor's Boroughs and West Boroughs, all the other areas were significantly affected as well. She's the Lady Despair who cooperated with Mr. A. She's one of the true murderers behind the Great Smog of Backland. This is where we avenge our friends, man. Klein felt his mind go adrift as he found himself becoming very sick while reeling in the pain and despair. Although it still wasn't lethal, the irresistible cost prevented him from using most of his beyond powers. Panatia's walked over as her beautiful eyes were stained with an indescribable color of bloodthirst. It was like a tramp finally seeing a sizzling steak after starving for days. Here we go. What's up, Randy? And her hands were what left off Sinner's torso and 2 broken limbs. This was apparently meant to be her stockpile of food. Ugh. That's gross. Your finger snaps sounded good. Speaking of cannibalism, your finger snaps sounded good. I believe the taste of those 2 fingers should be pretty good. Panatia looked at German Sparrow as he coughed in the distance, speaking with the tone of a raving lunatic. Just as she finished her sentence, she raised her hand and stuffed the Sinner's index finger into her mouth. She bit down on each segment, producing crushing sounds. Ah! Klein watched the scene with a blurred vision. In his grogginess, he felt his fingers also suffering from such excruciating pain. At this moment, he knew that Lady Despair Panatia was already partly mad because she had eaten too much flesh from other Beyonders. Oh, she was already partly mad because of that. Although, with her knowledge of mysticism, she would have definitely waited for the Beyonder characteristics to seep out before partaking in her meal. The deceased had been trapped in here without any food, making them each other's target. It was inevitable that they slowly lost their minds as they approached insanity. How could she remain fine eating such meat? Just as Klein, I feel like we're reading a crazy fanfic version of Hannibal, dude. If you haven't watched Hannibal, it's such a damn good TV show. Just as Klein was reeling in despair and wondering what method he could use to save himself, he was in the crimson moonlight suddenly turning bright. He saw Panatia's face colored with a look of horror. Without hesitation, she turned around and charged into a nearby building and slammed the door. As Klein felt his illness alleviate significantly, he hurriedly looked up into the sky. He saw the crimson moonlight and was already penetrating the fog, appearing clear as it illuminated the town. His heart stirred as he recalled what Panatia had previously said. He immediately struggled and hobbled into another building beside him without forgetting to lock the door. Once the crimson moon turns clear, there will be changes here. It will become extremely dangerous. That was the end of the chapter. Oh, that was a short chapter. All right, let's keep reading. Hold up, next chapter. That one was a pretty quick chapter. 58 minutes. Yeah, so don't forget, we probably are gonna stop at 8:06. I don't know if we stop reading here or we read. I don't know if we read 35 or we read 36. Mysterious, how's everybody doing? Can't be here for long, but still wanted to see stop on it. Hey, what's up, dude? I hope you're doing good, bro. Yeah, I hope you're having a good day, Mysterious. 835, 58 minutes and 5 seconds. Making good progress. I feel like we are making pretty good progress. All right, next chapter. Chapter 835, the figures coming and going. After rushing into the building and closing the door, Klein realized that the curtains behind the windows were constantly in a drawn state. Only some fade... Oh, drawn, right? Because she's like erasing them, right? The angel. Constantly in a drawn state, only some faint crimson moonlight seeped in, light up the room slightly. He didn't bother making any additional observations. As he found a wooden chair and sat down, he attempted to enter cognitation to calm his inclinations towards mutating. Since he had witnessed a saint-level Beyonder's incomplete mythical creature form. Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. I was like, why is he going crazy? No, yeah. You can't even look at the mythical creature form. Otherwise, there's a chance of going insane. I remember that. That was brought up earlier this volume or at the end of volume 3. Just looking at one person's mythical creature form is enough to make somebody go mad. I forgot about that. How could he survive it that easily? This was a mysterious space above the gray fog that came with recovery effects. As Klein was able to withstand mental blows with relatively well, he was able to straighten his thoughts out early and prevent himself from losing control, thus allowing him to successfully escape. However, this didn't mean that the problem had been resolved. He sat there relying on cognition and his control over his emotions to resist the waves of inside thoughts. During this process, he heard the cheekbones produce crunching sounds. He saw his black hair turning long and thick in an uncontrollable manner as his chest bulged through his clothes while his skin produced granules in the form of meat tendrils. After nearly 30 seconds, Klein finally exhaled and relaxed significantly. He had completely recovered from the effects of Panatia's incomplete mythical creature form brought. He even gained some new knowledge. The level she was at had despair at its core, making her good at creating and spreading plagues. The insanity and mutation from witnessing a mythical creature not only produced the symptoms of losing control of one's pathway, but it also comes with the traits of other parties. Sequence. Back then, I was nearly baked by the eternal blazing sun, and this time I nearly became a demoness. What? He was nearly baked by the eternal blazing sun because he burned him, and this time I nearly became a demoness. Klein looked down at himself, restoring his chest and his hair to normal. Oh, he was turning into a woman? That's why his... Oh, I was like, why is he bulging? Oh, shut. Is there fan art on that? Hold up. I mean, I'm just asking for setting my thumbnail. Klein almost changed the theme of the story. Yo, hey, what? Hey, I didn't say that. Username said that. But if there is any fan art... Unfortunately, yes. Send it my way. That's gonna be our thumbnail for this stream. First question is fan art. Was that too obvious? The insanity mutation from witnessing a mythical creature not only produces... Let me read this part. Not only produces the symptoms of losing control of one's pathway, but it also comes with the traits of the other party sequence. That makes sense. That's why Klein burned when he looked at the... Yes. Back then, I was nearly baked by the eternal blazing sun, and this time I nearly became a demoness. Klein looked down at himself, restoring his skin, chest, and hair to normal. Truly a master of disguise, bro. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm just asking to set our thumbnail for this video. If he wasn't a faceless, aside from letting loose meat tendrils sink into his body, he would have to rely on external forces to resolve the problem. Without the time to potently sigh or analyze the situation, Klein slowly stood up at the cast, his gaze towards the tightly drawn, dark-colored curtains as he attempted to figure out his current situation. His expression suddenly changed because he heard rowdy murmurs outside the street. At that instant, he felt that, apart from him and Lady Despair, Panatia, the uninhabited town, suddenly had many residents. There were... What? Now it's filled with people? They were loitering across the streets and the alleys, greeting one another and discussed whether they only buy bread or be extravagant and buy a pound of beef. The foggy town suddenly seemed to come to life. However, none of the figures entered the building that lined the streets that seemed to keep coming and going across the streets, producing voices that would find it difficult to believe the conversations, as they sounded more like deep, glowing savages beasts. Klein couldn't imagine the scene outside. All he knew was that even a demigod-level demoness had to hide from the danger. He retracted his gaze and thought deeply for a few seconds. Silently muttered, I can't hear out, but I can stay. I can't head out, but I can stay in here either. Who knows when the Crimson Moon will be covered by fog again, allowing Panatia to regain her freedom of the movement. When the time comes, with us being so close, there's no way for me to escape. But how do I move without heading out? So if this is an imprisonment and the moon is connected to... I'm sorry, are they hidden within the moon? Like, is the moon like a prison? Like the red moon? And the silence, Klein slowly turned his body and faced the pitch-black spherical cathedral. According to Lady Despair Panatia, the cathedral was the only place she didn't dare explore. It was as though entering the cathedral was the only way to escape her haunt. Of course, a demoness like Panatia wasn't necessarily speaking the truth, but Klein believed that she wasn't likely to lie regarding such matters. After all, to her, after all, he was her prey, her delicacy. Besides, Panatia back then was using her speech and charm to entice him bit by bit, designing a trap for him so as to capture her prey. With a demigod's confidence, it was unlikely she would reveal information as a bluff. In addition, at such times, speaking the truth was the safest and most reassuring option. There was no need to worry about the prey escaping ahead of time due to the detection of a lie, unless her half-mad state causes her to habitually lie. Otherwise, it shouldn't be a problem. Klein, who was out of options, quickly made up his mind. He lowered his left hand and made creeping hunger turn transparent. Although he knew the traveling was useless, he still held out hope, because this was the point when the Crimson Moon was at its clearest. There was no obstruction, and it was round like a silver plate. During such times, Mr. Dor could transmit his shouts into his ears of his descendants from where he was lost. Traveling was enhanced and anomalies happened, so it wasn't something as possible. Klein's figure rapidly phased away, but seconds later, his body outline appeared again where he stood. I can't enter the spirit world, to the point of not even sensing it. As a beyonder power, traveling only has a third of its use. It can barely be used as invisibility. Klein muttered silently as he concluded his experiences and lessons. However, he was puzzled for one point, traveling, phasing away, and turning transparent due to the unique traits of the spirit world. So why would it be effective? Klein pondered for about 10 seconds before he came to a rough idea. Every person must be connected to the spirit world because one's astral projection is located there. It can obtain all kinds of abstract information, which is the reason why revelations can be obtained from divinations. Therefore, when we are converted into a hidden and secret state, our connection with the spirit world becomes part of it. This can explain why I can still use the unique traits of the spirit world, but I am unable to enter it. This is because the former had a portion of it hidden away. I didn't have time to consider it before he attempted flaming jump. I was met with success, and this also requires the unique traits of the spirit world. After confirming this point, Klein raised his right hand and snapped his finger, attempting to ignite a half-melted candle into the neighboring building. He wanted to use flaming jump to pass through the neighboring buildings and slowly approach the spirit cathedral. Once the Crimson Moon was hidden by the fog, he would reassess the situation to decide if he would take the risk and hide inside. A scarlet flame was set ablaze in the neighboring building as it slowly expanded and illuminated its surroundings. At that moment, the streets outside suddenly turned abnormally silent. All of the beast-like growls disappeared. The figure that loitered on the street seemed to turn to face the building and use their gaze in an attempt to penetrate the windows. Klein instantly broke out into a cold sweat. He didn't dare to leap over as he instinctively snapped his fingers and extinguished the flame. After a brief silence, the rowdy murmuring sound again. The indistinct figures continued walking here and there. Only then did Klein hear a sigh of relief. He raised his hands to wipe the cold sweat from his forehead. He discovered that he had knowingly made several mistakes after entering the foggy town in such dangerous and bizarre environments. He hadn't divined if he should light the candle in the neighboring building. My spiritual intuition should have warned me, but it didn't. From the looks of it, after the gray fog was screened away, my spiritual intuition and senses from danger are no longer enhanced. Now I'm just a little stronger than a marionettist of the same level. I'm far from being crazy powerful. It's because of this that I was incited by Panathia's instigator powers to look at her wound. She's four. Dude, DBL, thank you, Kakarot. Thank you for joining our member program. Hell yeah, dude. Now, oh my god, we're one step closer to having more custom emotes, dude. Thank you guys. Holy shit, man. Thank you, dude. He began scrutinizing himself as his mystical beast items beyond her power suddenly his eyes lit up as he found a solution. This solution stemmed from a traveler's door opening, which he thought was useless. The Beyond Her powers was completely overshadowed by teleportation under normal circumstances, but in this mysterious and bizarre foggy sorcerer W, man, you guys are W. Just its usage of its unique traits of the spirit world became more useful. Klein wasn't in a rush to take action as he took out the gold coin which Senor had used to reside in. Using divination to question his spirituality, he obtained the answer that he should penetrate the wall. And without any way to obtain a revelation from the spirit world, he could only choose to trust himself. He then walked to the wall and that was shared with the neighboring buildings and passed his hands on it. Suddenly, Klein passed through the stone wall as he entered the next building. He followed the terrace houses until he arrived at the final door. According to his initial impressions of the town, he was already very close to the Sparta Cathedral. He didn't need more than 2 flaming jumps to reach it. At that moment, the crimson moonlight that penetrated the dark-colored curtains didn't weaken. He could vaguely see the figures coming and going like they were leading a normal life. Without being capable of moving further away, all Klein could do was sit down on the wooden chair that was a distance away from the windows. It was almost completely dark with deep, dark shadows. Only at this point did he have the time to recall the details of his encounter with Demoness Panatia. She's actually the murderer that caused a great smog of Backland. Tens of thousands of people died because of her. Even more people suffered the pain of losing their loved ones. Old Kohler, who worked hard to live, Madame Liz, who worked hard to raise her 2 daughters. Klein closed his eyes as he lifted his head and took a deep breath. He forced himself to extract himself from the anger and hatred that suddenly surged in him and calmly observed the turn of events. Unfortunately, I didn't let Senor wear the flower of blood, otherwise he should still be able to put up a struggle. However, there wasn't a choice. While possessing me, wearing a ring corresponding to Rose Bishop while entering China's Gate would be equivalent to blasting myself apart. Yeah, he'd give himself away. Now, the only mystical item I can use is Creeping Hunger. There's Zombie, Baron of Corruption, Desire Apostle, and Traveler inside. Yes, I tried to see if I can contact the Grey Fog by praying while the Crimson Moon is clear. It doesn't work. I can now confirm that even with a marionette between us, I'm still affected by Demoness charms and incitement. Since Panatia can release a plague on a large scale, why didn't she attack me in secret in such a concealed manner? Instead, she waited until I nearly lost control from witnessing her incomplete mythical creature form and exposed my locations before spreading the ailments. Huh? She can definitely do it. The Great Smog of Backland is the best proof. There are 2 explanations. First is because I was personally sent here by an angel. This made her place a great deal of attention on me, worried that spreading the plague in advance would be detected by my spirituality. Second, she's afraid of something, so she doesn't dare to blanket the area with her plague. Oh, I can fix her? I can fix her. As Klein thought over the matter, he felt his spiritual perception trigger as a chill ran down his spine. Almost at the same time, he saw that a deep shadow that blanketed him and the surroundings suddenly shrank, drilling towards his nostrils, mouth, and ear. What the fuck? What's going on? What? Okay, so are we reading 36 or do we stop here? Do we read 36 before we end stream? Or do we stop here? You guys let me know. I think I read it. Klein's Bizarre Town. Literally Klein's Bizarre Adventure. Don't read 837? Okay. Nothing more? Can read 836, but don't read 837. Okay, deal. 837 is going to have to be tomorrow morning. I say yes because if it's a cliffhanger, it's your problem. I already know how it ends, but let's find out. All right, we're going to read one more chapter. So you guys are telling me do not read, what's it called? Don't read the 837. Just stop right here. All right, so we're going to read this last chapter, and then this is where we stop. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let me do my timestamp. Tossing food. 1:10. 45. Paste. Okay. All right. All right, so this is our last chapter because we can't read 837 on this stream since we're gonna. What time for next stream? It'll be tomorrow, the same time we went in live today. I'll set it up right now. Chapter 800. After this, I'll set it up. Chapter 836 is called Tossing Food. At that moment, the shadow seemed to turn corporeal. It was ice cold and moist, and it instantly bound Klein within it like he was a mosquito in amber. Klein's figure was squashed and compressed as he regressed into a piece of paper. Oh, it's a paper figurine. rapidly turning into mush. Paper figurine substitutes. Having sensed in danger ahead of time, he made the timely use of paper figurine substitutes. His black robed figure appeared on the other end of the dining table as he opened his mouth, producing a bang sound. At this moment, Klein's mind suddenly turned adrift as he found his surroundings blurry and unclear. He instantly understood what was happening. He had been forcibly pulled into a dream. And a dream? And with this, he determined at one point his abnormal ability of maintaining his lucidity and rationality in dreams has already solidified and became one with him. There was no need to use the gray fog to do so. After a brief struggle, Klein suddenly snapped awake and saw a shadows in the building slowly surging at him like a tidal wave. Bang. He opened his mouth and produced an extremely mighty air bullet. The bullet struck the shadow, producing a huge swath of white. The shadows around the whiteness immediately receded and filled it to the brim, returning everything to normal. Once again, Klein took this opportunity to roll to the side and turned his left glove pale with a tinge of dark green. What's your opinion on clankers? I don't know what clankers are. What is that? With a clap, the spot he stood at was smashed by a lump of flesh and blood that flew out from the shadow, covering the dark red carpet that was covered with strange mold. It was an unobvious manner. Klein had a feeling that he was being weakened. Without any time to think deeper into the matter, he immediately made his feet produce an icy layer that emanated cold air. White frost crept up and he rapidly froze the shadows. Underneath the crystalline frost was a squirming and warping pitch blackness like oil that had its own feet. Zombie eye stun. Klein did another flip and changed his positions while making his glove produce blank granules that were profound and dark. Right in the heel of that, he straightened his body and faced the shadows beneath the layer of ice. He said a word filled with foulness, a word that came from the devil language, slow. Suddenly, Klein saw the shadow squirming slow down. Clearly, it was in an extremely sluggish state. However, his thoughts had also turned sluggish, preventing him from dealing any follow-up attacks. His language of foulness had been distorted, and although it was clearly directed at the shadow, it had been distorted to target the entire living room, hence defecting him. In just seconds, Klein extricated himself from the slowed state, and without any thought, he lunged for the dining table and picked up a plate with half piece of steak and throwing in the shadows. During this process, his left glove remained dark black, but it had a sinister and noble vibe. Bribe. He used the steak to bribe the enemy, weakening the other party's offensive defenses and controlling abilities. At this moment, he just threw the snake, and that was his bribe. At this moment, the figure suddenly shrank back into the corner of the wall, allowing the dining plate to smash and shatter into the melting ice. Then the figure surged upwards, taking the form of a pitch-black figure with a hooded robe. In the palm of the figure, a transparent and blurry book appeared in front of him. It was accompanied by a distinct and indistinct chant. I came, I saw, I record. Just as the chanting sounded, the book rapidly flipped through the pages and produced a burning white sphere. Mr. A, has he gone completely mad? He dares to use... Holy shit, dude. What the fuck? Has he gone completely mad? He dares to use a fire-related beyond powers in such an environment? Klein's heart tightened as his thoughts raced. He hurriedly rushed towards his opponent and held his left hand behind him. Oh shit, we're running it back, bro. Round 2. Creaking Humber was quickly tainted with dark colors of the corruption before condensing a ridiculous great sword that seemed to be combined from a scarlet magma and blue hot flames. Thump. Was he sane before? We don't know. He always looked like he was insane, right? He always gave the impression that he was like half insane, right? I think that's how it was interpreted. Klein's footsteps was heavy as he bent his back, pulling his shoulders back as he forcefully delivered a strike with his left arm. The muscles on his arms bulged as he swung the sword of lava, puffed. The resplendent great sword cleaved down on the fiery sphere, sending sparks of white, blue, and red scattering in every direction as they ignited the chairs and curtains. The murmurs outside the street had long vanished. All the indistinct figures had turned over, and there was extreme silence. After shattering the fiery sphere with a cleave, Klein bent his knees and genuflected, snapping his fingers with his right hand. Pa. The flames in the entire room were extinguished. Klein didn't move any further. He had a nagging feeling that a dense array of gazes were trying to see through the curtains and seek out any abnormalities. The hooded man formed of shadows didn't take any action as well. Although he was acting crazy just moments ago, he seemed to have sensed the inexplicable horror that was slowly approaching. In a dark room with tiny hints of crimson moonlight, Klein was genuflecting while the other was standing close to the wall. It was as though the two of them had turned into stone statues. In the unbearable silence, time passed abnormally slow. All Klein did was count 10 seconds, and it felt like an hour had passed. Finally, the beast-like growl sounded once again in the staccato, disjointed manner, and the indistinct figures outside began walking again, returning back to the street. Almost at the same time, Klein obtained initial control of his target's spirit body threads. Okay, here's how we turn Mr. A into marionette. The hooded man's actions of pouncing forward instantly turned sluggish. Without any hesitation, Klein bent his body and circled the air, preparing to take advantage of his opponent's delay to disrupt any of his subsequent counterattacks and slowly turn him into a marionette. Holy shit. At this moment, his nose suddenly felt an itch as he couldn't help but open his mouth. Achoo. Klein sneezed and lost his control over the spur by the threads. Oh, the ailment. Furthermore, his throat began to hurt as mucus began to take action. He had caught a code. He actually caught a code in this intense battle. After suspecting that his opponent was Mr. A, Klein had actually been wary against a demoness element based on his past experiences when fighting Mr. A. Wow, it's like the same thing happening again. He had placed at a significant disadvantage back then, but in the battle, he didn't give him time to think. He had made a mistake. His constitution had long weakened due to the plague from the actual demoness panacea. He had no way to wait until the marionette conversion completely. He didn't even have a chance of attaining a deeper level of initial control and used air bullets to deal a lethal strike. Achoo. As Klein sneezed, he rolled away. Meanwhile, he switched to creeping hunger to the Baron of Corruption state and attempted to use his distortion powers to reduce the effects of his cold. Of course, thanks to his bribe from before, his condition wasn't too serious. What a good bribe. All it did was affect his control over the spirit body threads and not make him incapable of fighting. While rolling away, Klein noticed from the corner of his eyes that his opponent was leaving his shadowy state. The hood slipped backwards, revealing a face that looked beautiful like a female. It was none other than Mr. A, the beautiful guy. Okay. This Aurora Oracle had actually managed to survive this long despite the harsh environment. However, his eyes were already bloodshot. He looked at Klein as though he was looking at a delightful delicacy. The hunger that was innate and indistinct wasn't concealed at all. Everybody's acting like Hannibal today. Holy shit, man. At that moment, Klein's mood didn't wane because he still had sufficient strength to battle. When he was most worried about wasn't Mr. A, but that their escalating battle would produce flames and attract the danger outside. When that happened, there was no way that the two of them could escape death. The immense hunger had made Mr. A lose his rationality and no longer parried by loitering figures. If I can slightly alleviate his hunger, he should stop attacking and patiently wait until the crimson moon is once again hidden by the fog. Giving him some food, as his thoughts raced, Klein nearly sliced off a piece of his flesh to throw at Mr. A. Thankfully, he thought of something in the nick of time. He had food on him. They were the dried mushrooms that Frank Lee had produced. Okay. Oh, he sent him some mushrooms way back ago. Oh my God. He held onto them this whole time. What? They were the dried mushrooms that Frank Lee had produced. It was said to be a crossbreed between beef and the flesh of a rose bishop. As long as there was fish and water, it could keep reproducing. As this was a new species in a subtle sense, making it not directly related to rose bishop, Klein had placed it with herbal powders he often used like slumber flower. Without removing them, he wasn't afraid that it would trigger any abnormalities without the core seal behind China's gate. Achoo. With another sneeze and another roll, Klein had taken out the dried mushrooms and thrown it at Mr. A. Perhaps the smell of beef had attracted him, or perhaps it was the mutual sense shared between Rose Bishops. Mr. A immediately stopped attempting to flip through his illusionary book. As he caught the mushroom, he stuffed it into his mouth, chewed and swallowed it, and now he's happy. Frankly came in clutch, man. Frankly's nightmare fuel. Frankly literally saved him in this moment. The hunger pangs that were written in his eyes gradually lessened, but the way he looked at Klein remained the same. Klein threw the remaining dried mushrooms at Mr. A, who caught them. Without any hesitation, he clearly ate them. His vision finally turned for the better. Glancing at the indistinct figures loitering outside the windows, he stepped back into a corner, fusing into the shadows. Phew. Klein heaved a sigh of relief and retracted to another corner of the wall. Mr. A actually isn't dead. I have to say that in such an environment, a Rose Bishop's ability can provide immense help. Just using the stored flesh and eating himself can make him last quite long. Of course, the fact that Mr. A hasn't been killed by Lady Spirit Panatheas implies his strength. However, the demigod level powers he recorded must have been used up. As Klein thought, he deliberated over his words, wishing to sound out Mr. A for more information. Have you found any clues on how to leave? No shot. They're about to talk, dude. Are they going to team up? There was silence as Mr. A didn't give an answer. His insanity has made him impossible to talk to him. Klein pondered for 2 seconds and said a name. Leo Master. This was the name of the Aurora Order Saint of Darkness who had dissociated personalities. After a brief silence, Mr. A's slightly hoarse voice sounded again. He has been sent in here as well? Indeed, only matters regarding the Aurora Order elicits a response. Klein frankly said, no, he is trapped inside the ruins of the Battle of Gods. Without waiting for Mr. A to say a word, he continued, why don't you enter the cathedral? Mr. A said in a mumbled manner, it's very dangerous, very dangerous. Nah, not for him. It's also dangerous outside. All the dangers stem from there. All the people who vanished would reappear during the crimson moon. Before he could finish the sentence, the tiny bit of crimson moonlight that passed throughout the curtain suddenly turned extremely dim. That is a damn good stopping point. I guess tomorrow morning we will be reading The Hangers and onwards. Okay, let me do my timestamp so I don't forget. 1:21:33. Bruh, Frank Lee is Nightmare Fuel? Bruh? This is insane. I know, dude. It's good. It is so good, bro. Like, he's so fucking cooked, dude. A good stopping point indeed. I gotta go then. Dude, it's crazy. So, he basically got erased and got sent to a world that's separate from everything else in the world. Like, he can't even communicate with the outside world. The only way, and like, the thing that's weird, how the fuck is this tied to the Evernight goddess? Because, like, everything hits the, shit hits the fan when the red moon comes out. When the red crimson moon comes out, shit hits the fan. When it's concealed and we're in the gray fog, we're chill and it's okay. He can't use the gray fog and he can't sense where he is. So I'm speculating if this fog-like town is part of the fog world. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, man. Point is, Klein literally hit us with a let's see if it ain't that bad, and it was pretty bad. He got pretty fucked up. He almost died from that, so it was pretty bad. He almost died from that. He ran into Mr. A. I can't believe it's confirmed. Mr. A is going to be the next marionette at the end of this arc. It's going to be so sick, or maybe it's going to be the Demoness. We'll find out what happens tomorrow. So if you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn that bell icon on. Stillwood Panatia. Wait, hold up. I lied. Before I end the stream, was there any artwork on these characters that we can use for our thumbnail? Hold up. Is there any artwork? I'm going on general. Hold up. Before we end stream, let me go on artwork. Did you guys send anything? I will let Panatia gender bend me. Bye. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. It's like she can do whatever the fuck she wants to me, man. It ain't that bad. Alright, you guys didn't send anything. Okay, I guess it was probably spoilers. Bro, I didn't say that. I'm just reading a comment out loud. Hope Len said that, Cammy. Nah, I didn't say that. Hope said that. Hope said that, not me. Alright, there was no fan art. Nope, no art. Shit, alright, there's no art. So I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Pray to the Fool. Don't forget our 3-line honorific name, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace, and have a beautiful day. All right, later, guys.